we were just talking about really kind of just going back in time and looking at what happened last year and the dynamics that built out a market that appreciated basically 20% nationally, which is an incredible increase in value to property values. So we talked a little about really what does this year look like? Are we going to experience more of the same? Or are things going to taper off a little bit? I think the majority of people are saying things are going to taper off a little bit, but there's, of course, the other scenario, which is that we don't get this inventory that we've all been expecting and hoping for, and we continue to see significant appreciation in real estate. Things become unaffordable, speculation kicks in, and we're kind of back to where we were almost 15 years ago when the market crashed for different reasons. And who knows what that's going to look like. Obviously, we've got a close eye on it. And the point in telling you all of this is for you to be aware and for you to understand the dynamics, right? For you to understand the trends in the market and in housing, and then relate that to your own specific scenario. If you're thinking of buying, selling, or investing, timing is important. We all want to try and time the market. Timing the market is incredibly challenging if you don't have a very good understanding of the dynamics, not just within the market, not just within our economy, but locally, hyper-locally, what's happening in your neighborhood, what's happening on your street. All of that impacts your ability to accomplish your real estate goals, and that's what this show is all about. So if you're thinking of buying or selling or investing in real estate, maybe you want to get into real estate as a profession. I'll tell you what, there's a lot of agents out there, a lot of agents in our market. We've got over 7,000 agents and about 1,300 homes for sale. Do the math. There's almost 5 agents for every property for sale. But that doesn't mean you can't be successful in this industry. Our team has done very well. We're very well trained. We understand how to help people and how to find opportunity, which is a big part of what we do. You know, I always tell folks that I'm in 2 businesses, essentially. I'm in the business of helping people buy and sell and invest in real estate. And I'm in the business of finding people to help buy, sell, and invest in real estate. Any good company understands that scenario, client representation and client acquisition. And so when we talk about things like inventory and the fact that we went from basically over 1,700 properties for sale in December to now just a little over 1,300 properties for sale in January, a lot of people are wondering, well, why? What happened? Why does this always occur? And there's a simple answer. When a real estate agent is hired by a seller to help them sell their house, could be for 3 months, could be for 6 months, could be for a year, or anything in between. Typically, and this is just kind of common practice, typically they will write that representation agreement to expire on December 31st. Hey, give me until the end of the year to sell your property. And so that's why we see hundreds of homes disappear from the market every year. January 1st is, the heyday for everybody to call everyone that tried selling their home last year that didn't sell. So New Year's Day, 7:30 a.m. after, a night of celebration, your phone starts ringing off the hook at 7:30 in the morning if you were selling your home and your agreement expired with your previous agent. Isn't that nice? So will these listings come back? A good portion of them, yes, they will. Now, a lot of people have been kind of coached by our industry over the years to list your property in the spring. Of course, in the spring comes more buyers, and that's true. But also in the spring comes more sellers, more competition. So yes, you get the benefit of more buyers, but you don't get the benefit of having more sellers on the market. In other words, you haven't created any net gain, so to speak. Now, of course, the most transactions in our market historically, seasonally, are done in April and May. Properties go under contract the most in April and May, and then they close the most in May and June. That's just how it works if you look at the bell curve and the seasonality of our market. What I want you to consider is the fact that in an already low inventory market, you now have a drastically low amount of inventory and a drastically high amount of demand. So if you're a seller, take advantage of that. Take advantage of the fact that there's hardly anything else on the market right now. Anything that hit the market, last year that was priced well, marketed well, in good condition has sold. Now, there are times where even homes that are, everything looks good on paper. It's priced right. It's marketed right. The condition is in good shape. But for some reason, it just takes a little longer for the property to sell. Not everything sells in a few days. There are homes that are perfectly positioned that sometimes take a month to sell because you're lining up a buyer and a home. It's just sometimes it takes time, and sometimes it's just tough to explain that to people. Everybody has this expectation based on all the stories they hear, based on everything that's posted on social media, which is all the good news, right? It's all the success stories. It's never the, oh yeah, we priced our home well and we sold it for full price, but it took 45 days. That's not something that an agent's going to want to beat their chest over and expose to the world, but that's reality. It happens. The average days on market in our market is still a month. So obviously, side note here, but don't be too concerned if you've been on the market for a week or two or three and your home hasn't sold. It's okay. Now, months, it might be a bit of a problem. We obviously need to look at the precursors to offers, which is online traffic and showings and, of course, feedback. It's a bit of a separate conversation, but for those that are considering selling their home and want to wait until spring because they want to time the market, I'm here to tell you that the time to get it on the market is right now. Every buyer we are talking to is starving. They are starving for inventory. Now, the sellers that need to sell are in the same boat. And that is the problem. That is the delay, the bottleneck in our market this time of year. So what's the solution? So how do we address that? How do we fix that? If I'm listening to this show, knowing what you know, for those that have listened for quite a while, again, we've been doing this show for almost a decade. You know that, and it's not just me. There are plenty of companies or teams that do this and do a good job of it. The vast majority do not. And let's just be honest. I told you I like to peel back the curtain on the industry. The majority of agents are very lazy. They are very reactive. They want you to go to them with a property you want to see. They are not going to expend a bunch of energy to go and find a property for you. And that's the reality. So if I'm listening to the show and I'm planning on selling my house, but I just can't really get excited about what's out there, what I would do if I were in your position is call me and just simply ask, hey, here's what I'm looking to move into. Are you talking to any sellers that have something like that they're going to be selling? Are they in the same position? Do they want to sell, but they can't find something to buy? It's this big row of dominoes. The only way to start tipping them over is for either a property to hit the market that matches one of those person's needs, or for a real estate agent to just pick up the phone, start making some phone calls and say, hey, this is what this person is looking for. Let's look at our database. Who have we communicated with that is interested in selling something this person wants to buy, or vice versa? Now, the thing that we have focused as a team, real estate team, on over the past really several years, because we've been in a low inventory market for years. This time, last year we had, I think, about 3,000-ish properties for sale. Now we've got 1,300. I mean, drastically reduced. But from our perspective, when we have a conversation with somebody that wants to buy or wants to sell, that goes into a system that allows us to very easily and efficiently look at the opportunities that we have, so that when we talk to a buyer that's looking in a specific area, price range, bed, bath, square footage, our system can say, here are all the people that might be interested in selling their home over the next few months to that type of buyer. Which is why when we're on this show, I also have the ability to tell you as a seller, hey, if you're going to be selling your home, these are all the buyers we have for you. It works both ways. So I think that for those that are concerned about being bothered by real estate agents, and I get it. There are a lot of annoying agents out there. And they're just going to blow you up with emails and texts and calls and offers for coffee and so on and so forth, but they don't really have much to offer you. I think you as the consumer need to get better at asking straightforward questions. quite frankly. If you want to protect your time, ask better questions. Interview your agents. What kind of value proposition are they actually providing you with? Or is it just kind of same old, same old? When you see something you like, I'll open the door for you, and then I'll help you negotiate a deal. I think agents need to be better than that. We need to be out there finding opportunity proactively. Now, the reality is there's a cost to that. There are resources that have to be deployed in order for an agent to be able to offer that. Most agents don't have the ability to do that. We've been doing it for years. We'd be thrilled and honored to show you how we do what we do. I'm not going to tell you any more about how we do it because, of course, there are agents that listen to this program. But if there are agents listening and you're not currently doing what I'm alluding to, then that's the value proposition that this market needs. We need to be out there connecting the dots, shaking trees, finding people to move into specific homes. We've got access to the data. It's just a matter of whether or not the agent wants to do it or not, or if they want to take the easy route. And that goes back to what I was saying earlier about most agents just being lazy in this market, in that we've got so much technology at our fingertips. You know, an agent can spend 3 minutes on a search that they set up in the MLS, kind of use the set it and forget it approach. After they ask a buyer what they're looking for, they say, okay, great. Well, yeah, I'll input all of these parameters into the MLS, and every time something new hits the market, it'll send you an email. So just be sure to reach out to me as soon as you see something you like so that we can get out there and take a look at it so that we don't get beaten out with a multiple offer situation. I mean, it's the typical passing of the buck to you, the consumer. We're the ones that should have our ear to the ground, finding opportunity for you. That's what I think we've really excelled at, and that's where I think the industry needs to be right now. If you agree, if that's something you want to learn more about, if you want to have a conversation with me about what we're actually doing to connect the dots here, and go outside of just what's typically available to real estate agents, then give me a call, 843-800-0065, 843-800-0065. You can visit us online, listingsincharleston.com. That's listingsincharleston.com. Or, of course, you can send me an email. Brian, that's Brian with an I, at Brian Beatty, Beatty, team.com. So Brian at BrianBeattyTeam.com. Stick around, folks, for more of the Brian Beatty Real Estate Show here on the Big Talker, 1250 WTMA and WTMA.com.
More stimulating talk on real estate matters with Brian Beatty next on 1250 WTMA.